Welcome to Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe again. Now, I know what you're thinking. With a name like that, how is this not a cash grab? Well, the name is, but the story is really epic. I actually really enjoyed this storyline. So if you like the idea of Deadpool killing everyone, I hope you enjoy. The streets of New Orleans are filled as police arrive at the scene of a murder. However, the issue isn't that this was just a murder, but it was who was murdered, and that was the X-Men known as Gambit. The manner of how he was killed was not just some random fight. The person who did this, they enjoyed doing it. Meanwhile, over at AIM Island, the Uncanny Avengers burst into MODOK's lab to stop the villain from doing the usual villain things. This time, though, just before the Avengers finished cleaning up the agents, MODOK whispers something to Deadpool. Tirelessly, I pondered. What daydreams a carcinogenic piranha might revere. Deadpool suddenly stops, and Quicksilver says that something is up with Deadpool. You know, more than normal. Synapse takes a quick scan of Deadpool and says that his thoughts are all jumbled up. It's like he's a radio receiving 1,000 signals at once. Rogue reaches out to Deadpool asking if he's okay, but Dr. Voodoo tells her that he's entranced. There's no getting through. MODOK laughs. Yes, entranced. And you don't even know the half of it. You all came here to learn who was killing your friends and allies. But shall I tell you? As MODOK continues his monologue, Deadpool wakes up picking a rocket launcher, telling MODOK, guess who snapped out of his momentary coma? And look what I found on the ground! Deadpool fires the rocket into MODOK and begins to beat down on him, and then Deadpool's vision begins to slightly change. He says that the world is snapping back into focus. Bright primary colors have wooed him to his superheroic calling. MODOK shouts that he will never be able to defeat his ultimate weapon, the genetically modified anti-Uncanny Avengers. Deadpool then says, wait, wouldn't you just call them the Canny Avengers then? Either way, Deadpool hacks and slashes his way through the anti-Avengers, killing them one by one until Brainwave Ninja is all that stands. Brainwave asks, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And Deadpool tells her, obviously, because you're the bad guys. Duh. However, as Deadpool's vision begins to return to normal, he sees that everyone that he's been killing is actually his other Avenger friends. Synapse shouts that she's going to shut him down now, and as Deadpool looks at the bodies, thinking that they are still bad guys, he tells Synapse, yeah, good idea, Brainwave Ninja. You do that. And all that can be heard for the next few moments is Synapse screaming. The next morning, another team consisting of Jessica Jones, Kate Bishop, Cable, Punisher, Moon Knight, and Misty Knight begin to examine the aftermath. Jessica asks what's the toll up to, and Cable says that with these four, there's Ben Grimm, Human Torch, Black Widow, Danny, and Luke. Moon Knight looks at one of the bodies and says, looks like we have ourselves a real nasty killer. Misty asks Cable, can't you see anything like future awareness that could point us in the right direction? And Cable says that he's afraid not. His timeline seems a little tangled. It means that he's probably not going to live through this. As Moon Knight looks further in, he asks, wasn't Deadpool a part of this team? And Cable tells him that he runs with them, but his body wasn't among the carnage. He's not here. Moon Knight finds Deadpool's logo smeared in blood and says, yeah, he was. Later at the Schaefer Theater, Deadpool returns to receive praise for his latest mission, or at least what he thinks is praise. Really, he's just sitting around eating unheated noodles from a can. And just then he receives a call from Nick Fury about another special assignment. Nick repeats the same thing that triggered Deadpool earlier. The next targets on Deadpool's list are the gods that have been walking the earth among the humans. In Deadpool's mind, he sees himself playing games with the gods, throwing a volleyball around. But in reality, the ball that he's holding is actually Medusa's head, and he's turning everyone into stone. Back with Cable and the others, they arrive at Deadpool's apartment to find files on different heroes and their weaknesses, including those that have just been killed. Punisher says, that settles it. Deadpool's our guy. Time for us to go smoke him. Jessica picks up an old food box and says it's not that simple. It looks like Deadpool left them a message. On the table, spelled out in noodles, it's the words, help me. Elsewhere, though, a group of men all discuss who they should kill next, throwing different heroes' names at one another when one tells them, you have to have patience. Red Skull then tells Abomination, Magneto, and Dr. Doom, do not worry, we will be getting to them all. Later in New York, Cable's team finds the remains of a man who had been recently killed, with air horns scattered all over the place. Jessica asks who is this guy. He looks like Captain America if he liked nachos and beer. Moon Knight picks up the air horn, stating that this man was Eddie Brock, otherwise known as Venom. Up on the streets of New York, Venompool screams, I'll kill you, Spider! And Spider-Man asks, hey, Venom? What Deadpool sees, though, is not himself fighting Spider-Man, but rather him and Spider-Man entering a fruit pie eating contest. Just as the two of them sit down, the Blob appears challenging them so that he can donate the money to his favorite charity. Spider-Man shouts, "We can't let that happen! Our charity is counting on us, Deadpool!" Deadpool pulls up his mask and begins eating, stating, "The only thing that we can do, Webhead, is eat. Eat like there's no tomorrow." But in the real world, Deadpool is eating, but it's not fruitcakes. It's Spider-Man's insides. Venom yells, "Finally! The hunger is sated!" And it begins to release itself off of Deadpool. Deadpool says, "Look, Spidey, we did it! We out-ate the Blob!" He then looks at Venom and pulls out an air horn and drops it down, telling Venom to hurry and get out of here. Get as far away as you can. The next place Cable's team goes is the apartment of Spider-Woman Jessica Drew, where both her and Roger Cocking, the porcupine, were both found murdered like everyone else. The group decides it's better to split up into teams to try and find Deadpool, and Moon Knight adds that everyone needs to keep in touch. That way, if his operative discovers anything, they can all be in the loop. Punisher asks, "What do you mean?" And Moon Knight tells him, "I have my people." A short while later, Jessica and Kate meet up with Miles Morales to inform him of what's been going on. Miles says, yeah, Captain America was telling them all to lay low for a while, but for him to say that, it must be pretty bad. Jessica tells him that it wouldn't be a bad idea to get out of here, and then Miles' Spidey sense goes off. Suddenly, goblin bombs are thrown, and the entire roof explodes, throwing everyone off the side of it. Jessica quickly grabs Kate before she can fall, but Miles is still on the rooftop. He looks up to see part of a Spider-Man costume, and he asks if that's Peter. But Deadpool, wearing that costume, tells him, "Nothing but a poor travesty, a failed copy. The saga of the Spider-Verse clone conspiracy ends here, little Spidey." What Deadpool is seeing, though, is not Miles, but a 6-armed spider monster. A few moments later, Jessica gets back up on the roof to find Miles' bloody head. Meanwhile, back with Red Skull, he talks with Doom about Deadpool's conditioning and ensures Doom that Deadpool will not turn on them. But up above them, Gwenpool is listening and says, "That's right. Keep talking, jerkface McNeeds a punch. Mr. Knight's gonna eat this up." Gwenpool sneaks up on the villains and she quietly says, "Yes! I'm positively sure that it's them." "What do you mean, Mr. Knight, that you can't tell us them by the back of their heads?" "Fine, hold on." She bursts into the control room, snapping pictures of the group with her phones, telling them, "Say cheese!" Red Skull tells everyone to get her, and the Abomination charges after her. Gwenpool asks if they've got the pic yet. "Do you believe me now?" Out in the woods, Moon Knight looks at the pictures and says, "I lost connection with Gwenpool. We're gonna have to assume that she's dead for now." Punisher says, "I'm getting real tired of being one step behind Deadpool. He was just here when we missed him." Moon Knight looks at a bag filled with marshmallows and says, "Looks like he was camping." And Punisher tells him, he was roasting more than just marshmallows. Up ahead, Groot lays on the ground burned with a skinned Rocket Raccoon, dead Star-Lord, and a headless Drax. Punisher picks up a gun, telling him, "This must have been the murder weapon. I'm gonna hang on to it and kill Deadpool with his own gun." Over at Xavier's school for little mutants, Marvel Girl asks Deadpool if he's sure about this. And Deadpool tells her, "Don't worry, I totally got this." After plugging in a machine, Deadpool pulls a switch stating, "I'm activating the time platform now. I'm gonna send you home, little X-Men." But as the switch is pulled, the kids begin to feel sick and there's a loud explosion. In reality, Deadpool just killed everyone. And he looks back at the console, saying that it looked like he flipped the wrong switch. Oh well, time travels to the birds anyhow. Though I can't really blame you all for wanting to go back and fix whoever killed the other X-Men. And that's when we see the damage that Deadpool did to Xavier's school. Back with Moon Knight and Punisher, they arrive in the location where Gwenpool's phone had its signal. And Punisher says that this place is dead. The two head inside, and Moon Knight says that he anticipated that their people of interest would be gone. But maybe they can find something as to why Deadpool's even doing this. There must be some sort of trigger or a code that puts Deadpool under their control. And that's when behind them, Deadpool appears. But Deadpool seems himself, asking if they're ready to play their weekly basketball game. Moon Knight tells him, "I'm sorry, but that's a no-can-do. We're busy with our false idols." And Punisher yells, "Yeah, my gun tells me that there's no room for wholesomeness fun." In reality, Moon Knight and Punisher began to fight Deadpool, and just as Deadpool cuts Moon Knight's arm, Punisher shouts that he's gonna end this. He pulls the trigger on the gun that he picked up earlier, and it releases an energy wave that instantly vaporizes the Punisher. And Moon Knight says, "He sabotaged the gun. He knew that Punisher would try to use it." Deadpool tells him, "I warned Frank about how guns are bad for him. He really should have just played basketball." Moon Knight spins back, punching Deadpool, and as he falls, Deadpool tells him, "Hit me again. I'm at least here for the pain part." Moon Knight punches again, and Deadpool says, "They're making a play. They finally got organized. They're getting rid of all of the heroes once and for all. Keep hitting me, I can keep my senses." And Moon Knight asks, "Who are they?" And Deadpool tells him all of the villains are working on this. But before Deadpool could go on, a monitor in front of him with Red Skull's face tells him the trigger phase. Deadpool then takes out his sword, stabbing into Moon Knight, and as Moon Knight falls, Deadpool whispers something into his ear and leaves. Moon Knight grabs a phone, telling Jessica that he knows where Deadpool's going next. He warned him of it. Whatever you do, don't go alone. Take all of the heavy hitters with you. And a short while later, Deadpool returns to the labs where all of the heroes are there to fix him up. However, the normal doctors are not who Deadpool thinks they are. They're Arnim Zola and the Mad Thinker. Later, more heroes show up at Red Skull's base, and they find an operating table with fresh blood on it. Suddenly, there's footsteps coming towards them, and as Sam Wilson looks up, he says, That can't be what's happened. Deadpool, now merged with Ultron, tells them, you can stop me. I want you to, but you can't. All you could do is run, but I know that you won't. So you're all going to die. As Deadpool's vision changes, he doesn't see the heroes before him, he sees himself in an arena, and he's a contender against an army of robots. As the robots attack, Deadpool thinks, these guys really want to hurt me, but I've done nothing to earn their hatred. However, if I don't fight, then I'll never be reunited with my true love. Oh, BR Turbine, where have you gone? Deadpool then rips apart another robot, telling them, please forgive me. You know not the malice in your programming. Back in reality, the heroes' bodies continue to pile up as Deadpool holds Jessica up by her neck, squeezing and crushing it. She yells, yeah, go on and do it. Finish it before. But before she could finish, Deadpool snaps her neck. Cable starts firing, stating that he's sorry that they have failed him, but just as Deadpool starts shooting back, Kate releases an arrow straight for his head. He catches it, asking, really? This can't be your best effort. And he throws an arrow into Cable's chest. Cable falls to his knees, stating, I knew this was where my timeline ended. And then the arrow explodes. Deadpool yells, ha! Explode arrow? And then he releases a blast into Kate's chest. It rips through, killing her, and just then Misty jumps into attack. Deadpool turns back, firing a beam into her head, blowing off her skin. With everyone dead, Deadpool starts to pull off the Ultron helmet, telling them, I can't breathe. And then he finally rips it off. As he throws it to the ground, he says, look what I've done. Next, Deadpool heads out to play hide and seek with Moon Girl, Miss Marvel, and the Power Pack kids. One by one, the kids are slaughtered, and Deadpool shouts, all right, now it's my turn to hide. As he looks around, he sees what he's done, and he says, yeah, I wish I could hide from this. He walks through the crowd, and the people ask how he could have done this to kids, and he stops and says, in this case, I'm glad I don't know what I did. Over in an undisclosed location, a bloody Tinkerer sits asking, what is she going to do to him now? And Gwenpool tells him, it depends, really. As for me, I'm starting to get a little worried. No one has been answering the phone or responding to my texts. Tinkerer says that it wasn't his idea to use Deadpool, it was the others. And Gwenpool says she knows that part. But what she doesn't know is how they're doing it. Tinkerer leans up, stating that they have a control phase, a post-hypnotic suggestion, advanced brainwashing techniques. They've made it so that he doesn't even realize what he's doing. Gwenpool smiles, telling him, that's good. Now you need to tell me how to break that control phrase. Later, after saving the damsel in distress from the evil Nova, Deadpool shouts, all right, Miss Catrell, you're safe now. As Deadpool picks up the mannequin who he thought needed saving, a voice asks, what does he plan on doing with that thing? Gwenpool jumps in, kicking Deadpool, telling him, actually, scratch that, I don't want to know. The two begin to fight, with Gwenpool yelling, come on, I'm just trying to get through and help you. Deadpool shouts back, that sounds like something one of you variant cover knockoffs would say. Just look at you, Deadpool in pink. Gwenpool says, see, that's how I know you're not in your right head. The real Deadpool knows that he looks good in pink. After one more attack, Gwenpool stops and her blood drips off the end of the sword that just stabbed through her. She coughs, struggling to say that she knows it wasn't him that killed all these people, and there's something she can do to end it. She falls to the ground, stating the trigger phrase, giving Deadpool the villains as targets. He then says, all right then, bring on the bad guys. Days pass, and the only thing that Deadpool leaves behind him are mounds of bodies, in a far greater amount than the heroes that he once killed. With the numbers of villains getting smaller and smaller by the day, an emergency meeting is held by Red Skull to address their issues. He informs everyone that the matter is under control, even though it is tragic they have their very best agents working on the problem. All they need to do is present Deadpool with someone who has a greater killing instinct than his own. As Carnage slashes away at Deadpool's face, he tells him, look, I have no beef with you. You're not even a part of the supervillain club. Carnage pins down Deadpool, telling him, see, that's where you're wrong. All of those fancy pants villains that went messing with your noodle begged old Cletus to hunt you down. Deadpool pulls back his costume, looking at his watch, telling him, yeah, hunted me down to the very spot that I wanted you. Seconds later, a train passes by with its siren stunning the symbiote. As Carnage pulls off a Cletus, Deadpool looks at him and asks, "What kind of kinky symbiotic stuff are you into being naked under there, Cletus?" Deadpool picks up Cletus by his hair and holds his naked body in front of the passing train, cutting off his delicate bits first. He then pushes the rest of him into it. Once Cletus is taken care of, Deadpool pulls out an incendiary grenade, throws it onto Carnage, and leaves. More and more villains are killed in the normal Deadpool fashion. Disembowelment, head on the stove, wrecking ball to the face, clothesline for those who can fly. Finally, the time has come to finish off the one who did this, Red Skull and his cohorts. As Deadpool sneaks into Magneto's metal fortress, he listens in on a conversation between Magneto and Doom. Doom says that Deadpool is not to be underestimated. Facing him alone is rather risky, but Magneto looks at him. Were you and the Abomination ever treated? The great Magneto invites Deadpool into his lair. Magneto tells him, "I will exit our alliance on my own terms." And Doom tells him, "I bid you farewell." Deadpool raises his sword to strike Magneto, but Magneto holds up a flash drive, telling him that this is all the information on those who serve Red Skull. Deadpool says, "There's one thing I gotta know. Why are you doing this? Why throw in with the Red Skull and then betray him?" Magneto looks at his glasses, telling him, "I thought by striking a bargain with these villains, I would be able to protect mutant kind. It was understood that there would be some sacrifices, but I never anticipated that it would be so far. But now, I can finish this, make things right." Deadpool asks, "How is it ever going to be right? You helped me kill all of those heroes, kill the X-Men, murder the young X-Men in your care." Magneto tells him, "No. Deadpool, you were the one who killed them." And Deadpool pulls back, telling him, "Yeah." He then turns and walks away, telling him, "We both deserve to live with that on our shoulders, Magneto." Later, deep within the Red Skull's base, Red Skull stands with two of the last mercenaries that have come to his aid, Taskmaster and Crossbones. Deadpool stumbles into the room bloodied from the others that he killed before reaching them, and Crossbone laughs. "Ha ha ha! Look at you can barely stand! We won't even break a sweat with this one, Taskmaster." Taskmaster tells him, "Actually, I'm gonna sit this one out. The stuff that they did to Wade, well, they're all getting what's coming to them." Crossbone opens fire on Deadpool, telling him, "Whatever, who needs you anyway?" But before Taskmaster can leave, Red Skull grabs him from behind, telling him, "I will not be betrayed by an insignificant worm." The two struggle, and with one sharp jerk, Red Skull snaps Taskmaster's neck. Through Crossbone's bullets, Deadpool jumps over him and stabs back with a knife right into the back of Crossbone's neck, singing, "The skull bone's connected to the neck bone!" Once Deadpool pulls the knife back out, he sees that it's finally the end. Just him and Red Skull. And he shouts, "You're next, Goth Hitler!" But as Deadpool charges in, Red Skull grabs him, asking, "How do you know that any of this is even real? Do you really think that you could just shrug off our programming?" He smacks Deadpool down, telling him, "You butchered your friends and allies on a whim. Not only all of the heroes are gone, but the dozens of villains who may one day oppose my rule. This has all been a part of the plan. Every adventure, every victory, the world designed by Red Skull. The only thing that is real is the chaos and death that has been happening." But before Red Skull could finish, Deadpool takes Taskmaster's shield and he cuts off Red Skull's head. And as the head bounces on the ground, Red Skull continues to talk, asking, "Is this what you wanted to see to protect yourself? To give yourself a sense of atonement for what you've done?" Deadpool pulls off his mask, telling him, "Maybe not, but I'm not finished. There are plenty more villains out there. Even if you're not dead, I could circle back and kill you again." And as Deadpool picks up Taskmaster's sword and shield, he walks off, telling Red Skull, "It's a good thing that there's no heroes left, because what I'm gonna be doing ain't no hero business." And there you have it. Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe again. Now, personally, I'm hoping this doesn't turn into a trilogy again. I hope it's just this one-off storyline. Deadpool goes crazy, we don't know what's gonna happen next, and we never find out. I think it's pretty twisted at the ending that we discover that Red Skull was right and this is all in Deadpool's head. But, you know, it's just, I really enjoyed the storyline. I really, really did. Now, before we can go, I need to have somebody else in this team, the Comicstorian team, send you guys off to the other videos. I did a little skit thing a while ago. You guys remember him? Well, most of you do, because you keep reminding me in the goddamn comments. I'll be right back. That's right, it's Fatpool. Fatpool has returned. I'm here to tell you how annoying and stupid the Comicstorian is, because I'm Fatpool. Anyway, don't forget to check out more stuff by Deadpool over here. We'll do the entire original Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe saga over here. That's the one where you can find me. Go to chapter like 3, you know, panel 9, back in the page. Fatpool standing over there. You know what it is. Now I'm gonna go eat a whole bunch of donuts. Thank you guys for your time. I'll see you right here at Comicstorian.